I didn't have anything to open this video with, so I asked a friend about it, and he sent me this. So here's a picture of a snake caressing what appears to be a pile of hamburger buns. What's interesting about this picture is that it's actually symbolic of the Cold War. The buns in the picture are very blunt imagery of when the American troops were making relations with the People's Republic of China. And the snake itself... Wait, what is that? Zoom on that right there. Oh my god. Oh my god! I'm kidding, this has absolutely nothing to do with the video. Please enjoy. The video you're about to watch is Patreon supported by people such as Abby Knutson, DJ Gillard, Rami Batter, Jane Bass, and Ewan McDonald. Thank you. A while back I got a chance to play through Kirby Planet Robobot, which is absolutely fantastic by the way. I can't wait to do a review of it once I receive my capture card. If I receive my capture card. It's been a while. Getting kind of worried. During this time, Game Freak was showing off some of their new Pokemon like Sandygast, the Sand Castle, and Comfy, the Lay. I like Comfy, he's short and easy to wear. And that's when I had a blinding epiphany. Holy sh**. Some of these Kirby enemies would make better Pokemon than, well, Pokemon. And what better way to aggravate even more diehard fans than to make a top 10 about exactly that? Because at this point, pissing off Pokemon fans seems to be my legacy, even though I really like Pokemon. But how could I forget rule number 1 of the internet? If you like a series, that means there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And anyone who says otherwise is clearly just a hater. What? Come at me! Come at me!
But Kirby enemies don't even look like Pokemon.
I disagree. Sure, there are a few Kirby enemies that don't look like Pokemon, but there have been so many different stylistic approaches to Pokemon over the years, the question is no longer, what is a Pokemon? The question has now become, what isn't a Pokemon? Because that's a Pokemon, and that's a Pokemon, and that one is too, but then this one is also a Pokemon, and it's like, where do you draw the line? Does this really look like it's part of the same universe? Not really. It looks like something straight out of Yokai Watch. Is that a bad thing? Well, I don't know. I'll leave that up to you to decide. Either way, the point is, the conditions that we subconsciously set that need to be met to recognize something as a Pokemon is a lot more ill-defined than it used to be. Because of this, the only requirement for this list is whether new or old, as long as the enemy looks like it could be a Pokemon, it'll check out for the countdown. And to eliminate confusion, this list is obviously going to be based on the designs of the enemies, and little else. Kirby games aren't RPGs, so I'm not really sure what else you'd expect. Also, nothing from the anime. My channel is already bad enough, and I don't need to make it worse by taking a giant 4Kids dump on it.
Hey mate, you must be Kirby. My name's Rick.
Why is Rick the hamster Australian? Hey, I'm SilokHawk, and this is the top 10 Kirby enemies that are better than Pokemon. In Kirby Triple Deluxe for the 3DS, get it, Triple Deluxe. Wait, what is that? Oh my god! The Beetle ability was introduced, which seems odd in concept, but is surprisingly fun to use. At the very least, it's an incredibly violent power. Here we go, here we go, here we go! And to give you said abilities were two new enemies, Beatly and Hornhead. Both shared a number 10 spot because Hornhead seems like the natural evolution of Beatly. The typing for both should be self-explanatory. Bug flying because, well, they're beetles. The designs aren't bad, and at the very least they look more like bugs than garbage truck Tom over here. Yeah, I know what a lot of you are probably saying.
Ooh, Fireline, how original. Come on, Game Freak is way more creative than that.
Well, guess what? They already did it in Pokemon X and Y anyway. Oh yeah. Back in the ye old days of the NES, Fireline used to look like this. Oh no, watch out before he nibbles on you. And the official art wasn't doing him any favors either. Come on, stop it. Thankfully, Nightmare and Dreamland gave him the makeover he desperately needed. In fact, they did such a good job of his redesign that he definitely deserves a spot on the list. His moveset isn't too notable. He just sort of pounces around and sometimes breathes fire. For that reason alone, I figured his type should be similar to that of Pyroar, so a dual typing of fire normal. But if there's one thing he already has going for him, is that his main, 1, is made up of actual fire, and 2, isn't a flat loaf of bread stuck to his face. Seriously, why is Pyroar's mane just a flat wall of fur? I mean, he looks cool from the front, but then he turns around and it's like, oh, but why? Sphere Doomers from Kirby's Return to Dreamland. You know, those things you had to fight after some trippy black and white vacuum sequence. And they have gears in them because it's their favorite snack? Look, I'm not gonna judge. The design is simple, much like most Kirby enemies, but I personally really like it. And to be fair, it's a bit more inventive than some other ghost Pokemon like Ghastly. But hey, at least Ghastly turns on the Gengar. Beyond the design, what makes Sphere Doomers interesting is that alongside their pretty diverse set of moves, they actually have different typings. There's a standard, of course, but then there's also a fire, ice, and electric variant. Just think of Rotom, I guess. You know, without the whole turns into a lawnmower thing. Lastly, there's the Grand Doomer. The Grand Doomer serves as a boss in Return to Dreamland, but could effectively substitute for a Mega Evolution if it truly were to be a Pokemon. Just don't have it turn to a lawnmower, and we're good. I was on the fence of this next one, but I just had to have it on the list because I am in love with the design. So number 7 spot is resigned for Queen Sectoia from Triple Deluxe. I love everything about this villain, but if I like it so much, why is it only number 7? Because admittedly, it doesn't look like as much as a Pokemon as some of the other entries. If it were to be a Pokemon, I honestly think it'd have to be a legendary. But hey, if Robo Kabutops can be considered a legendary, I suppose anything is possible. Sectoia uses a mix of both dark magic and swordplay, so for her typing, I don't know. Because she's also essentially a wasp. That's like 4 types right there. But if I had to make a blunt decision of only 2 types, I'd say she'd have to be a bug steel type. Bug because duh. And steel because in conjunction of her swordplay, a lot of her design seems to be made up of a hard reflective material, especially her wireframe wings. And later in your battle, Sectoia and Triple Deluxe, she even reveals a second form. As a flower? Don't worry, it's actually a lot cooler than it sounds. Her second form could effectively act as a Mega Evolution, or possibly even an alternate form linked to an exclusive ability. She's quick, powerful, and dangerous. One of my favorite bosses ever, and resembles to be a legendary Pokemon at least close enough to the point where I want to question it. Back on topic of some of the more plausible entries is our obligatory rodents of the list, Gaga and Gao Gao. Gao Gao being the hypothetical evolution of Gaga. I swear they try even less hard with some of these names than Game Freak. And Game Freak named one of their Pokemon Comfy, so that's saying a lot actually. Either way, both of these would make great entries for the expected rodent Pokemon of every generation, especially when compared to ew. In terms of physical appearance, both Ga and Gao seem to be a cross between a rat and a mole, both having large paws and large claws on those paws, presumably for digging, but to my knowledge you never see them actually digging. But that's okay, because they're sure good at doing that. So yeah, even though you never see them digging, Inhalium gives you the ability to dig, and that's enough justification as far as I'm concerned to give it the ground typing. Normal ground typing for these guys, and since they would be found early in the game similar to other rodent Pokemon like Rattata and Sentret, they'd evolve at a reasonably low level. Look at these guys, they're adorable, and not in a completely derpy way like some other Pokemon. Don't you look at me like that, you know what you've done. Flappy from Kirby Air Ride. Okay, right now I'm going to apologize in advance for some of this footage, but Flappy is only seen in Kirby Air Ride. And as you may know, Kirby Air Ride is a racing game. Kirby Air Ride is a racing game where you're always moving without pressing a single button. Kirby Air Ride is a racing game where you're always moving, and so is just about everything else. I think you can see where the problem persists now. Trying to get footage of these guys made me feel like I was actually bird watching. You try ever so hard to get close to them and observe them without fucking something up. But no matter how hard you try, you always end up fucking something up anyway. Oh my gosh, here's a guy. Just gotta get close. Fuck! And I just want to go off on a tangent about that if you don't mind.
Hey, shut up and get back to the video!
If you don't mind. It's true that Flappy first debuted in Kirby's Air Ride, but the enemy is also to be seen in a later title also for the GameCube. Unofficially titled Kirby GCN, the game would have been drastically different from Air Ride, because the gameplay that we do have would suggest that the title would have been a return to form. The only footage of this game that we have was the E3 trailer released all the way back in 2005. And let me just say, when 12-year-old me saw this, I got so excited. I was just like, this is it. This is the one.
But then it never came out!
Why? Why? It looked great! It was co-op up to 4 players, the partner system from Superstar was back. What's not to love? It also would have made getting footage 10 times easier because Flappy was in it. Writable, which is sick as f***. And also it was a platformer, so not everything was constantly moving around. Look at that co-op. Yeah, kick the shit out of that overwhelmingly happy guy. Anyways, back to the game that did get a release. The Flappy enemy seen in Air Ride is a completely passive enemy, and will not actively attack the player. As far as his appearance is concerned, Flappy resembles a young dragon, or a lizard with wings. So yeah, a dragon. While I don't know what role it would have had in the canceled Kirby game, just judging off its looks alone, I'd say it's safe to say this guy would be a dragon fairy type. Yep. I don't know what to end this segment on, so here's a bunch of Pikachus dancing while I play unfitting music.
Don't lose your way. Your mind we have to be.
Ringle from Kirby Triple Deluxe. You know, the bell. I'm serious. In addition to the previously mentioned Beetle Power,
Happy Feet, Wombo Combo,
Triple Deluxe also introduced the Bell ability, which quite literally gives Kirby bells to use as weapons. Well, at least it's creative, and the enemy that gives you the power is a bell itself, which is little less creative. The enemy being just a bell is a little uninspired, sure, but the design itself, well, I like it a lot. In fact, Ringle is one of the enemies that gave me the idea for this list in the first place. It's a very simple design, but I don't think it's a completely bad thing. And to just set the record, I'm not against the idea of turning inanimate objects into Pokemon, but when the object is, say, a lawnmower or a keychain, that's a little bit different. Speaking of that keychain, Ringle would fill the role of a Steel Fairy type much better than Klefki. Cause I mean, come on, Klefki is far from the worst Pokemon ever, but a keychain Hurricane is undoubtedly the dumbest thing they based a Pokemon off of thus far. Ringle would probably fill a better role for a sound type, however. And I am dead set on Game Freak adding a sound type. There is no way in hell they won't add a sound type at some point. Really. You have Noivern, Chatot, Loudred. Hell, Loudred has the word loud in its name. Mark my words. Someday there will be a sound type. And if there isn't, I don't know. I guess I'll just be sad about it. Also, this is a bit off topic, but Loudred has like a butthole. I didn't edit that in, honestly. Like, could they have put that hole in a more questionable spot? And as Bonsley proves to us, yes. I wanted an assembled list by this Wednesday of all the Pokemon that have questionable holes in their design. And when you make the list, tweet it to me. Come on, butthole Pokemon. Do it for science. Caller from Kirby Air Ride. Kirby Air Ride. Damn it! Why more Kirby Air Ride enemies? Getting footage for this is a pain in the ass. Who wrote this list? Oh yeah, I did. Dude, f me, I'm an asshole. Callers can commonly be found in groups of 4 or 5 other callers. They aimlessly roam around and indefinitely make eye contact with you.
Always staring into your soul.
Stop! Stop it! Stop looking at me like that!
I would be driving away so fast right now if I didn't need to get footage. If you couldn't already make a guess by their constant spinning, inhaling one of these guys will give you the tornado ability. And maybe it's just the wing, ear things, but I'm also going to give these guys the fairy typing, so fairy flying. Again, we have a very simple design here, but it's pretty good. And I just want to add, I played an hour of Kirby Air Ride for footage, and I resisted the urge to play City Trial the entire time. Please send help. I don't know who I am anymore.
Stop fucking staring at me!
Algolf from Return to Dreamland, and Bobo from Squeak Squad. Bobo being the assumed evolution of Algolf. These are the only 2 enemies on the list that don't share a genuine relation to each other. But you look at these 2 enemies and you tell me that they don't look like they'd be part of the same evolutionary line. In Return to Dreamland, Algolf will fly around aimlessly until he spots Kirby. However, once he does spot the player, he'll shoot feathers at you in a similar fashion to the feather gun attack. Bobo, on the other hand, is a boss with an assortment of attacks. His wings are also made of fire, so an obvious fire type here if the color palette alone didn't make it obvious. So normal flying for Algolf and fire flying for Bobo. Just change the name because Bobo? Like, why? That sounds like the name of a retired Teletubby. At the risk of aggravating hundreds of people, as if I haven't done that already, Rowlet looks like the annoying shut-in brother of Algolf. The resemblance is almost uncanny. And it's just... maybe I'm just dumb for thinking I'd make it as a starter Pokemon, but I really thought I had a chance, you know? But no, not only did they not hire me on, they hired my stupid-ass brother instead.
Your brother?
Yeah.
Your brother wouldn't happen to be Rowlet, would it?
Yeah, how did you know?
I'm a lady. Now we're brother ladies!
Yep, a lot of you probably saw this one coming, but how could I not put Dynablade as the #1 spot? It's f***ing Dynablade! Dynablade, for all those who don't know, debuted in Kirby Superstar as the final boss in the game mode sharing the same name. A pretty sizable boss, and in Kirby Air Ride, they made her even bigger. And by bigger, I mean the size of skyscrapers in City Trial. Also, yeah, I finally got to play some City Trial to see Dynablade, so I'm cool now. Don't need to call it— STOP! No! Stop it! Remember in Kirby Superstar when you beat the living shit out of Dynablade, and then you walk slightly to the right just to find out, oh, she's a mommy. I don't fucking care. Does it look like I care? Cause 1, dead, and 2, annoying as shit. Now if you don't mind me, I'm gonna grill myself up some KFC. Its type is pretty much up in the air. It'd be a flying type, but wait, did I just make a pun? Its type is pretty much up in the air. It'd be a flying type. Look, I am so sorry. As far as the secondary type though, well, it could be fire since it shoots fireballs at you in Superstar, but it could also be steel because her wings are described to be sharp and sword-like. So, look, I don't care, just put all 3. Dynablade would also make a much better Rainbow Bird than Ho-Oh. And before the hate ensues, I love Ho-Oh. But it's called the Rainbow Bird, not the orange, yellow, and green bird. If you didn't know about Pokemon or Kirby, which one of these would be the Rainbow Bird? No, what? Stop. Were you just trying to spite me?
But it's called the Rainbow Bird because it makes rainbows!
I don't care! They could have at least used contrasting colors or something. Maybe they used these colors because he got in gold version. I don't know. Look, I'm a simple man and I want my Rainbow Bird to have a design that reflects that. Also, I want any one of these baddies to be in Pokemon. In fact, just hire HAL Laboratories to do the designs from now on. Because clearly Game Freak cannot be trusted. What the fuck did you guys do to Executor? Executor was already dumb, and they actually found a way to make it worse. I don't even know if I should be mad or impressed. I mean, wow. Who looked at that design and was like, yeah, that's cool, greenlight that shit, I love it. No! 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 What are you doing? Stop! No! Hey, thanks for watching. I know, what the hell? Wasn't my next video supposed to be that Smash Top 10? Well, I'm still waiting on Vince to send me some audio assets. If you're upset, you can email him here at wtfvinceyousuck@hotmail.com. Are there any enemies you think I missed? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, you can follow me on my Twitter or like me on Facebook if you want to keep up with what I'm doing. And if you'd like to get your big fat sexy name on the next video, you can support me on my Patreon. But until next time, thanks for watching and have a good one.